Fuel is the official podcast of the 434th Air Refueling Wing. The content and views discussed are those of the individuals and do not necessarily represent the views of the United States Air Force or the Department of Defense. No advertisement or endorsement is ever intended. Welcome to the January edition of the Fuel Podcast. I am your host, Josh Weaver. I hope everyone had a good holiday break, was able to spend some time with family, kind of recenter, of course, eat fantastic food. Hopefully none of you have a PT test this UTA. If you do, I'm sorry. Hey, we've got an excellent show for you today. We've got Sergeant Saunders, who is a repeat guest from one of our earlier editions, but we've got him on here. We're going to talk about some travel benefits. Sergeant Saunders he's really passionate about optimizing or utilizing all of the travel benefits that we're entitled to, and he's going to give us some awesome resources. And overall, it's a great conversation. So feel free. I mentioned it at one point in the podcast about like being able to rewind, because we're going to cram a lot of resources into a very short amount of time. So make sure to utilize that rewind button so that you don't miss anything. A couple things before we get started here. I do want to remind everyone about the DEOX survey. So if you're semi-new and you don't know what that is, so the DEOX survey is basically, it's a climate survey, right? So it's going to give the commanders and our leadership is going to give them insight into our units and what the climate is like in those units. So if there's anything that's going wrong or something that needs fixed or something that can be done better or, things of that nature, then those are the kind of things that come out of that survey. So the survey is anonymous. So make sure that this UTA, so we have until the end of the month to do this survey. So I would advise everyone this UTA, get in there and let your voices be heard. I mean, we do these surveys, and when we don't get enough participation, then we can't change things. So I took the survey a couple weeks ago. It takes all of about maybe 10 minutes. So hop on there, this UTA. So if you don't see an email about it, just go to your little search box and just type DEOX. And I promise you there's like 4 or 5 emails on it. So get in there and do that. One other thing, we've got new commander, Colonel Ty. He will be joining us about the middle of this month. He should be here on the 15th and then should be here, pretty much full time starting the 18th of January. And then we'll have our change of command at the February UTA. So really look forward to meeting him and getting to work with him. Colonel Fields has done just a fantastic job filling in. And so we're really, really excited that she's still going to be the deputy here as well. But also looking forward to getting Colonel Ty here. So, all right. Well, without further ado, let's talk about some travel benefits. So welcome, Sergeant Saunders, the repeat guest that no one wanted, but you're here anyways because you are passionate about travel benefits.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year to you as well.
Yeah.
Recovering from the COVID. So
Recovering from the New Year's Eve is on my side, I think.
I didn't. Yeah. 8 p.m. was my bedtime, and that's what time I went to bed. So
excellent.
But yeah, so tell us a little bit about travel. So I have a little bit of knowledge about travel benefits, but not a lot. But basically, the extent of my knowledge goes to Space A and people calling our office every day saying, do you guys have any Space A flights?
Well, we're definitely going to talk about some Space A benefits, but the wealth of information out there about travel benefits is just so great. And what drives me nuts is that people just don't know about it. We do such a great job in the Air Force of offering these benefits and then a terrible job of telling people about them. So it's kind of one of my New Year's resolutions is to get out and explore some more. So it's a big thing. So let's start with just talking about some local stuff. So a lot of people don't have a whole lot of free time, but hey, on a weekend or something, they may want to go away just for a day. One of my favorite things that they offer here at Grissom is our outdoor rec. So have you heard of our outdoor rec?
Yeah, I've rented things from them. I haven't done any like the R4R events. Like I haven't done that type of stuff, but I have rented actually every year for my kid's birthday. I rent one of the inflatable water slides.
Oh, brilliant.
Which you know what
Excellent.
that means. That means I don't have to hang out with them.
Yeah, exactly. You just leave them and they go and do their own thing. But they offer so many things. So a great thing that we did a couple years ago is we wanted to go tailgating. So we rented an RV or a little trailer from the Grissom outdoor rec department here, took it down to IU Bloomington and did a tailgate out there. So little day trip things like that is fantastic. You also mentioned our R4R events and our Recharge for Resiliency. Our R4R events happened almost every single month here at Grissom. I know, for example, they got some skiing trips coming up in January that's a fantastic way.
I'm sure you're going.
Oh, I would definitely be out there skiing. You know me, but. The one thing I really want to emphasize, though, when it comes to the R4R events and the outdoor rec is don't limit yourself just to Grissom. As a DoD member, you're eligible to go to not only any Air Force base, any military base, period, and go and find those outdoor recs, those R4R events. One of the big ones I saw was a lot of our people here at Grissom live up in Chicago. I had no idea, but the Great Lakes Naval Station up there offers some heavily discounted Black Horse tickets. So you want to go out take your family out for a night of hockey, head on up and give them a call.
So what you're saying is if I go, so my family and I go on vacation, let's say we go to Florida, right? So I can just go to their outdoor rec if I want to get stuff to play on the beach or whatever. We just go to that one.
Absolutely. You don't need to drag all of it with you. You don't need to drag tents and sleeping bags if you want to go camping or fishing equipment. Every state in the US, for the most part, has a military base where you can go and get that stuff local. One of the big ones I know is people like to take a trip to Las Vegas, right? But maybe after they've spent all their money, they want to go do some like canyoning and stuff in the area. Just head to Nellis Air Force Base on their FSS page online, and you can see all of the camping gear, rock climbing gear, and everything they have to offer there, really discounted rates.
So what about like... Okay, so if we're talking about like recreational, like tents, boats, that type of stuff, what about like experiences?
Yeah, so that's kind of where we come with our R4R, Recharge for Resiliency events. So that's where you have things like you can do fishing. I've done skydiving here at Grissom, which was
will not catch me doing that.
Terrifying, but I'm so glad I did it. Did it once, never again, but loved it. We before COVID at Grissom, we offered whitewater rafting trips where Will Summers would organize it, and they'd take us out for a 4-day event in West Virginia. So
I am down for that.
Yeah, the difficult thing is though, it's up to you to check. Just every month when you come in, check on those emails that are put out by Stacey Pennington or some of the other people, or check online. That website's great, and that's the Grissom FSS. Just Google Grissom FSS. You'll see that first website pop up.
Yeah, I know. I tried to with the R4R events. Now I could be wrong, but I know we've had a little bit of gap where we haven't had any. I think that's like a funding issue that hopefully is either taken care of now or will be soon in the future. But I try to include, if I see those on the Grissom website, I try to include them in the Fuel newsletter so that folks see it on the FSS page. But okay, so we've got our like local, right, Grissom. What about outside of Grissom?
Well, Josh, one of the things that I love to do if I'm going on a bigger trip away, I want to get away maybe for a long weekend or for a full week. I love hitting up our national parks. And one of the best benefits that we get as military members is we get free national park entry. Just head to the local national park near you. It could be the Great Lakes National Park up in Northwest Indiana. Could be down at Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. Head into their office, show your military ID. They'll give you a free pass that gets you into any national park in the country.
Is that like a year pass? Like, do you have to do it yearly?
Yeah, it's a yearly pass. So, but it's good from the month that you apply all the way through that same month next year. So even if it's getting late in the year, still no worries. You still get it for a full 12 months.
I'm not sure what the disability percentage is, but it's the state parks in Indiana, because when I went to a state park, they just said, veterans with a disability. I'm like, what percentage? And they're like, doesn't have
just
to be
anything.
So they gave me a pass to all the state parks for free at
That's
the gate.
excellent. See, I didn't even know about that one. State parks can be a little bit different state by state.
Right.
I go up to Wisconsin a lot. And in Wisconsin, show your military ID, disabled or not, you get free access to the state parks. Indiana, a little bit different.
Yeah, Indiana's you had to have a disability percentage. Again, I don't know what that is, but yeah, the state to state's going to vary. It depends on what kind of benefits they have.
Yeah. Another thing, we already spoke a little bit about skiing. And while here at Grissom, we offer the great trips up to Swiss Valley in Michigan, you can also do, let's say, some longer ski weekends out in the Rockies. And probably the best discount I've ever found on any military discount would be through the Epic Pass, where normally that pass runs about $1,000 for a season. Do you want to take a guess at what it is for military members?
Like $100?
About 140
Dang.
is what I paid this year. So, I just sign up for that. And then all I have to do is go skiing like a day and a half. It's already paid for.
Yeah.
So it's an incredible opportunity to get out. And that also a little bit more expensive, but you still get a steep discount for your family members as well.
So what about if I want to go somewhere? So I know, and I've used it one time. The is that Armed Forces Vacation Club?
So there's two big ones that people often get mixed up. You mentioned the Armed Forces Vacation Club, and there's also the American Forces Travel website. A lot of people use this interchangeably, but they're quite different. So just to give you a brief breakdown, the Armed Forces Vacation Club is not a DoD sponsored site, but it is available for DoD members to find some great deals from anywhere in the world. A big thing they offer is 7-night stays for only $409. And that's sometimes...
I'll tell you when I used it, it was only $360.
Oh, it's gone up a little bit. In
this is like 10 years ago is when I used it.
So that's a fantastic one for like those getaways. They also have some good cruise deals on there as well. The other one though is the American Forces Travel website. Now this is an official DoD sponsored website. It's run by Priceline, and it's basically just where you get discounts for using this website. So that'll be discounts on car rentals, flights, hotels, and it's all DoD sponsored. So they guarantee to have the lowest price. If you find a lower price anywhere else within 24 hours, they will actually refund you the difference between those. So they got some incredible benefits there.
I didn't even know about this site.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the things that are out there you don't know about.
Yeah. Okay, so what about, I know a big thing for, we've got a lot of families here, right?
Yeah.
A lot of families that might want to do this thing known as Disney, right? No endorsement implied.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny you mentioned Disney. I was actually at Disney only 2 weeks ago. I went down with my boyfriend to a Yellow Ribbon event down in Orlando, and we added on a couple extra days. He'd never been to Disney before, and I said, "Okay, hey, let's see what we can get." So not only did I get discounted Disney tickets, but I also booked us a really nice room at Shades of Green, which is the military resort that's down in Orlando. That's just an unbelievably beautiful place. The best place to start if you're looking for tickets to Disney, to Busch Gardens, to the zoos, anywhere, is your local ITT office. And here at Grissom, really easy. You just call 688-2000 and that gets you to our fitness center, and they can get you set up from there.
You mentioned Busch Gardens, and I would like to put a little disclaimer on here that SeaWorld and Busch Gardens once a year is free for you and I believe up to 5 dependents.
See, that's incredible. I didn't even know that.
We go to Florida, once every year, every other year. And we always use the SeaWorld pass. And you know what's super nice? Those tickets are expensive.
Oh my goodness. Yes, they are.
And these are free for you. So you don't feel the obligation to stay the entire day. It's just, it's much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, Disney tickets definitely aren't free, but still a heavy, heavy discount as well, which is just phenomenal. And I can't speak highly enough about both Shades of Green and then the other AFRIC resorts as well. So when I say the acronym AFRIC, AFRC, I guess your mind normally goes to Air Force Reserve Command, right?
Actually, coming from active duty, every time I said AFRC, it was Airmen and Family Readiness Center.
Airmen, see, they got the same thing. But another one on there as well is Armed Forces Recreation Center. So there are 4 Armed Forces Recreation Centers around the world. We mentioned Shades of Green as one of them. That's down in Orlando, Florida. There's also the Halekoa Resort, which is in Hawaii.
I have stayed there.
Have you?
I
haven't been there yet, but the Waikiki Beach, looks stunning.
Now, to be fair, there was a false false alarm of an incoming ballistic missile while I was there. So
Oh,
it wasn't
right.
the
Okay.
greatest time ever, but very nice resort.
Hopefully a couple of Mai Tais on that will to get your mind off of that, right? But so yeah, you got the Halekoa over in Hawaii. Then the other two over on the across the Pacific, you've got the Red Dragon, and that's in Korea, and as well as the Edelweiss Resort, which is down in Germany.
Okay, so now you're taking me outside
I'm
of the US.
getting a little ahead, aren't I?
No, you're not getting ahead at all. You're taking me outside of the US.
Yeah.
All right. I know that you just went on a trip, right? What are some of the benefits that you know about or that you used when you went on your trip?
Absolutely. So what I recently did is I took another Space A flight. So because I'm here on long-term orders, I get leave. And when I'm on leave, I'm able to take Space A flights anywhere around the world. Now, a little disclaimer here that for just traditional reservists, if you're not on leave, you can still take Space A flights. You're just limited to only in the United States. And that does include Alaska and Hawaii. But because I was on leave, I got to hop on a free flight that took me out of Baltimore, Washington International, and I went over to Sigonella in Italy. Hopped off the plane there, met up with Major Fryer, who picked me up from the airport, and then started my trip all the way up the boot of Italy and then into Switzerland as well.
Without paying for a plane ticket.
I did pay. I probably paid about $25 for my in-flight meal.
That's essentially not paying for a plane
basically
ticket.
not. So Space A flights are a huge, big draw for travel benefits. And don't forget that these benefits also follow you once you reach retirement age as well. So a lot of retirees, including retired reservists, will often take these free flights with them and their families all over the world. So with the flights to Italy, I've flown to Japan, flown to England and Scotland as well. And it's been just an incredible experience every time. A couple of times got to ride in the cockpit.
Okay, so tell me about some of these places that we could visit. I know you mentioned the four, but I think there's more. I know there's more because I was stationed in Alaska.
Yeah.
And we actually went my first year there. We went to the Seward Military Resort, which was fantastic. It was maybe $100 a night for a townhouse with a loft.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the little harbor there. It's gorgeous.
And the great thing about those as well is they're also rank pricing dependent. So
Correct.
The lower rank you are, the cheaper it's going to be for you as well.
I was a senior airman at the time.
Hey, that's even better. Now we're a little high, but still very affordable. So a good place to look for any of these other locations would be on the... Going to do some editing. Would be on the myairforcelife.com as well as the Navy MWR.org. Don't forget that we can use other branches' benefits as well. So that'll take you in for a link. Some of the amazing ones I know of, like the Barking Sands beach cottages that are cottages out in Hawaii, or Suda Bay in Greece has these incredible places to stay. The nice thing about these as well is that while you may not be able to take a Space A flight if you're not on leave, even as just a traditional reservist, you can still stay at all of these properties.
Okay, so this is awesome, right? All of these travel benefits are incredible, but there's something that we definitely have to keep in mind if we're going to utilize these. If we're going to go outside of the United States, right? We need to make sure that we're checking in with our security manager,
absolutely,
OSI, because I know there's plenty of places that you're going to have a brief before you go.
Yeah. So I've traveled to some pretty weird places, and I've been Morocco and Turkey about 6 times, and to some weird places they've never once told me not to go, but they always do say, hey, just give us a heads up. So you can speak to your security manager, and then also don't forget to check on the OSI pre-travel briefing site.
Yeah, and a lot of that information they're giving you is actually just about the local community around there, giving you some cultural things to be aware of. And, you know, I can't remember where I was at, but I know one of the things I was told not to do was eat the street food. And I paid attention to that.
Street food is my favorite things to eat when I'm over there.
Hey, it all smelled and looked very good, but
take it with a grain of salt, figuratively and literally, right?
Right. All right. So we've got all these like travel benefits, but there's still like I mean, there's perks that we get too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the perks, of course, a lot of people know about would be down at our airports. As military members, we get TSA pre-check if we use our DoD ID numbers.
Lovely thing.
It's such a nice thing. Now, I haven't taken my shoes off in years, which the other passengers greatly appreciate. But they also get free checked bags on most US airlines, and that includes things like skis and golf clubs. Don't forget as well, when you're traveling overseas, you'd want to be courteous in that. It might be nice to freshen yourself up on some language stuff. So as military members, we get free access to Mango languages. That's through the MWR libraries, as well as SOFTs. That's the Special Operations Forces teletraining system. That's a mouthful.
It is.
But I was taking some French classes with them recently, and that helped me out when I went to Morocco and was able to speak a little bit of French to the taxi driver.
I didn't know anything about either one of those.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because you always hear about, like, I don't know, Babbel or Rosetta Stone or something you got to pay for. I didn't realize that they were free resources for us.
Absolutely. It's great for these things. And then, of course, don't forget, I've mentioned it like 3 times, but wherever you go in the world, check to see what the local bases in the area are offering. I had a quick little look, just a few different places around the world. And I saw that in Yokota in Japan, there's a sumo wrestling tournament that we can get free tickets to on January 14th.
Can you participate or just watch?
After the holiday season, I feel like I'd be a pretty good contender at that point. But
I would pay good money to see that.
But even though I'm not assigned to Yokota, if I go out there and if I bring my family with me as well, I can still get access to these incredible discounted or free events. So there's trips to Stonehenge if you go to England. There's mountain bike trips if you go over to Italy. Just incredible experiences.
It's crazy. And all you got to do is look.
Yeah, just got to look. And when in doubt, just type the name of the base and then type FSS. And that'll usually take you to the website, or type the name of the base in MWR for morale, welfare, and recreation, especially for some of like
Army.
The Navy and the Army, Marine stuff. MWR will always get you where you need to go.
What other resources we got? I know we have crammed resources
crammed
now into if I'm reading this right, I don't know, maybe like 17 minutes of just cramming resources.
Absolutely.
But
well,
the nice thing is there's a rewind button.
So we can swing back around. But the big things most people want to know about Space A, right? They want to, hey, I've just got back from deployment. I want to take my family somewhere else in the world. How can I navigate the complexities of Space A, and how can I find out these resources? Couple sites I want to point out to you. The first one of my favorites, is poppinsmoke.com. That's poppin without a G. Poppinsmoke.com, they have a great list of how to fly Space A, different places to go, what to know, visa requirements as well as a lot of these other recreational lodging facilities that are great. You can also check, like we said, with some other branches like the Navy, MWR.org is a fantastic resource, as well as Military One Source is a great place to start. But if you don't want to go on a computer right away, you want to bounce some ideas off of some people, I always say stop in to see Stacey Pennington or some of the other people like Sergeant Jastrzymski and Sergeant Chase at Family Readiness. They are just a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, you make me want to go on a trip.
We'll have to go together. We'll do some sumo wrestling out in Japan.
No, we will not be doing I don't want to lose. Yeah. That'll be embarrassing for me. Well, hey, this was awesome. What else you got?
Think of other things to mention real quick, is the tickets and that. So you get to some place, maybe you're just doing a little city trip and you're heading to, let's say, Kansas City to see our old command chief Parks, right? And maybe you want to go and see a football game while you're there. Head to the local military base and you can check with their ITT office. Or you can always look at VetTix and GovX for some great ticket opportunities. I actually, last Christmas, managed to get Blackhawks tickets for me and my whole family for basically nothing off of VetTix. And I was just so happy to be able to do that.
Well, I know some of you listening are a little confused right now, so I just want to clarify when he says Kansas City and football game, despite his accent, he's talking about American football, not soccer. Yeah,
I'm sure they got a good proper football team there as well. But
hey, you know what? It's funny because I was actually thinking about this when I was as you talk, and obviously people can hear you have an accent, right? Yeah. And it sparks in my mind. When I was younger, I went to a church service and it was a guest pastor. and he was British. He had English accent, right? And as soon as he started, he said, "Before you say anything about my accent, I just want to remind you, we said it first, we said it right."
Absolutely. We created the language. You guys screwed it up. I'm just saying. Yeah.
All right. You got anything else for us?
Well, the one thing I want to say is that I'm actually getting ready to deploy here soon. So just going to give one quick shout out to say that my position as development and training flight is going to be vacant. So if you're a strong staff or tech sergeant, even master sergeants that are interested in helping to shape the next generation coming at Grissom, those applications are going to be due at the end of the day on Sunday of this UTA. So please make sure you get with me, get with Chief Sinius, and email those off. Let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, I would say if you are even considering it, I would highly suggest that you reach out to Sergeant Saunders and talk to him, because I've been here about 5 years, so not a long time, but I've seen the whoever is leading the DNTF, like, it's developed so much over the last 5 years.
Such an incredible program.
And so I would highly suggest, if you're interested, reach out to Sergeant Saunders so you can just, kind of just bounce ideas off each other. See if it's something you really want to do, because it definitely makes a difference in our trainees.
Yeah. Well, really, really appreciate it, Josh. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. All right. I hope you all enjoyed that. Like I said, I know there's a lot of information packed into that. Was it maybe 19 minutes or so? But just some really, really good stuff. So take the time, rewind. If you didn't take notes, maybe listen to this again. Take some notes about some things you might be interested in and check them out. A lot of great resources to travel, by yourself or with your family, either one. So yeah, I really appreciate Sergeant Saunders sitting down with us and talking about that. I know I will be rewinding. Well, I lied. I will not be rewinding, because I have an outline sitting in front of me with all of those resources on it, which the next edition of the Fuel newsletter, I will create a graphic and throw this stuff in there. But in the meantime, if you heard something that you wanted to check out, but you can't remember what it is, just go ahead and give it a quick listen again. We try to make these things short enough so that if there's information that you want, it's not that big a deal to rewind and listen again. So I hope everyone has a great UTA. Look forward to seeing everyone after the holiday break. And if you've got some things that you need to tidy up before we have an exercise next month, make sure we're looking at those things. Again, the DOC survey, please take that survey. We can't change anything if we don't know what's broken. So hope everyone travels safe in here and has a great weekend, and we will talk to you next month.